Okay, what a title, huh? Kundalini, porn and sexual addiction. So my one and only like massively popular videos over the last 5 years is the video I did on, I can't remember what I called it. It was 5 years ago. Kundalini and sexual energy, something like that. Anyway, I've gotten so many comments, as you can imagine, but I've had so many comments and emails over the years. And now, just recently, another email a couple weeks ago from another person on YouTube about sexual addiction and how is this sexual and porn addiction and just addictions in general, but mostly related to sex. And what does this have to do with Kundalini? What is happening? Why am I experiencing Kundalini, but I'm having sexual and porn addictions that I like almost I can't stop? Yeah. So this question has come up so often. They don't understand what's happening. Uh, but I will try to explain it to you and what you can do, which is the answer isn't going to satisfy a lot of people, but it's just the way it is. So what happens is, we're in this awakening boom and everybody wants to awaken Kundalini and they do all this stuff and we're having lots of trauma. Anyway, what happens is, um, most likely, if you know that you've had some kind of Kundalini awakening or a release, you've been doing Kundalini work or some trauma and you recognize the signs, um, most likely what has happened is you've had a deflected rising, which I talk about a little bit in that video in particular, but I'll just share with you kind of like the mechanics of what's going on. So first of all, what's happening is so many people are accidentally or forcing Kundalini to release before you, the psychological mind body vehicle, is ready. So I suspect, because of the amount of comments that I get, there are many people, particularly men, experiencing this. They've awakened Kundalini before, or she's released before the psychological body was ready and the subtle bodies were ready, and she could not access the central channel, the Sushumna, and so she had to take an alternate route. And that alternate route is one of the deflective risings called Vajra. And it may, on its initial release or initial reactivation later on, it may feel like, oh no, if you're very sensitive to what's going on in your body, it may feel like it's most definitely Kundalini is in the central channel, but that is probably not the case if you're experiencing sexual addictions and porn and all this sort of stuff. So what's happened is, well, uh, we have the central channel, and it's called the Miru Danda, I believe. And Sushumna is the innermost part of the channel. But around the Miru Danda, there are other layers, there are other channels. And Vajra is actually the second outermost channel. So it's actually a release of Kundalini in the central channel, but the outer aspect of the central channel. And the Vajra nadi or channel is always open. So this is why so many people, if they've and the Sushumna channel is not, it has a lock on it because you have to be ready for it, right? You have to, the conditions in your subtle body and your psyche, and when Kundalini is actually ready to release, um, you have those locks will open when all those conditions are met. However, on Vajra, it's got to open. It's open all the time. So sure, when we go to these, we do Kundalini yoga, or we go to some seminar and we're like doing breath of fire or whatever it is, trying to raise it up. Yeah, she can get accidentally or released, but she can't go up through the central middle channel. She's going to go to the one that has the door open all the time, and that's usually the Vajra. So it may feel like it's in the central channel, but it isn't, but it is, but it isn't, right? It's the wrong central channel, the outermost layer. And in that channel, there is no direct access to Bindu point, which is the point that results in true spiritual awakenings. It's the real deal. Let's just put it that way. However, this Vajra Nadi does have access to go all the way up here and stimulate brain centers. Okay, so on the initial release, Kundalini goes, whew, comes out of the root chakra, goes straight up into the brain centers, and whichever, we don't know what brain centers they're hitting in you, but it can activate all sorts of spiritual talents, insights. You can be brilliant. You all kinds of phenomena from paranormal to blissful, and you end up. And so she activates all of these brain centers, but she immediately falls back down. And her home base is now the base chakra, which is where she was, but she's still resting there. She hasn't fully released, come out of it, and the door shut. She's still resting in the base chakra. But what happens is she's going to keep looking for a way out because she's in this channel that goes nowhere. So she's constantly going up and down, stimulating brain centers, coming back down. So what the person begins to feel is highs and lows, highs and low. Ooh, I'm brilliant. I'm illuminated. I know the answers to the universe. And then I crash. And as she's making these trips up and down, depending on what chakra, she doesn't open any chakras, but she is, what is the word? Like rubbing on it, annoying it. I can't think of the right word right now. Sorry, I'm on Benadryl. The cedar trees are beginning to bloom and I can't even think. Anyway, she's annoying the chakra. She's rubbing up against it every time and she'll pick a particular chakra, perhaps several. But most of the time, the most common one is as she's rising, coming back down. It's usually the sacral chakra, particularly in men, that she is, what is the word? Friction, just annoying. I'm going to find the word here. Universe, give me the word. Stimulating, rubbing that chakra, annoying it. And so that sacral chakra, what is it connected to? Yes, your sexual organs and your sexual desires. So she keeps going up and down, up and down, up and down, stimulating that particular chakra. And for men, this is like too much. They just are wanting sex all the time because, this becomes now an addiction, just like taking crack or heroin. As she's going up and stimulating those brain centers, stimulating your neurotransmitters, you feel like you're a god, you're fully enlightened, you're brilliant, yeah, you get it all, man. And then she comes back down and you crash and you feel like perhaps you can't even function good unless you've had some sexual activity, a sexual release. And this creates a trap because the more you engage in these unhealthy behaviors, and it doesn't have to necessarily be sex, but she can stimulate and add friction to any one of the chakras. So we get addicted to whatever arena that chakra is related to. But I'm specifically talking about sexual and porn addiction, that you almost need it. For men in particular, you almost need the sex in order to function, right? Because you're so brilliant, you become very charismatic. I mean, people are magnetized to you, but your highs are really high and your lows are low, and it feels like sex is the only answer, orgasm is the only answer. And unfortunately, the only way out of this um, addiction pattern. And, when we're in addiction pattern, because the results of stimulating these brain centers, you think you've reached your peak. You think you've understood it all, and you kind of ignore now having a more spiritual, clean, healthy life because you think you're already there, but that's not the case. And so the only way that Kundalini can your body can accommodate the opening of Sushumna is cleaning up, getting back into a spiritual, more clean, wholesome lifestyle. Um, just from every aspect of it. And yeah, unfortunately, it is just I have to clean my act up. I kind of have to say no to these sexual desires. I have to eat better. I have to rest, and I have to meditate. And those are and surrender, surrender in the meditation. And I know no one likes to hear that, but these are the steps to healing that, so that and it will happen, I would assume, fairly quickly, because this is what she wants. She's just waiting for you to clean up your house a little bit and slow things down, and for you to physically release the body, energetically release, so that that inner channel of Sushumna, that lock, can open up. So you could already tell relaxation, trust, letting go of the ego that thinks it's already there, so that where she's at in the outer channel, she'll come back down and she'll go, oh, right, I can go right up there in the central channel. So I hope that made sense. So yeah, if you've had some kind of Kundalini release and you recognize these symptoms, this up and down, this addictive behavior, if she's been, uh, if she hits, if she's activating or rubbing up against, having friction on like your solar plexus chakra, this will mean lots of digestive issues that you can't figure out. But I suspect she's in men in particular, will always activate the sexual thing. So solar plexus, digestion issues, heart, probably vitality, and then depression, and it goes on and on. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. Kind of helps you understand the sexual and porn addiction when you're like, what has happened? Kundalini's released, and here I am. I can't stop doing some things. Anyway. Okay, all for now. Bye.